What I am about to show you has been hidden for over 60 years. And the reason it has been hidden is simple. It would cost a very powerful industry billions of dollars if every homeowner in America knew about it. There is a powder. It costs about $3. You can find it at a farm supply store or certain hardware chains. And it will kill the humidity in your basement, your crawl space, your bathroom, or anywhere else moisture is destroying your home permanently, without electricity, without filters, without a monthly maintenance contract, and without ever calling a repairman. I spent 30 years as an industrial engineer. I worked in manufacturing facilities across the Midwest, the kind of buildings where you store sensitive equipment worth millions of dollars. We used this compound in every single facility. It was standard procedure. Nobody thought twice about it. Then, at some point, it quietly disappeared from every consumer product shelf in America. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what this compound is, where to find it for under $3, how to apply it correctly so it works for months, what mistakes will ruin the results, and how much money you have been losing every single year by not knowing this. Stay with me, because the part I am saving for the last 5 minutes, the part about who actually lobbied to get this product banned in 12 states, that is the part that is going to make your blood boil. Here is the problem that nobody wants to talk about honestly. Humidity does not just make your basement smell bad. It is quietly destroying your home from the inside out. And the industry that is supposed to help you has a very strong financial reason to make sure you never fix it permanently. Mold remediation, when it gets serious, costs between $3,000 and $6,000 on average. That number comes from restoration contractors and insurance adjusters, not from me. And mold does not show up overnight. It builds for months or years in walls, under floors, behind insulation, in places you cannot see until the damage is already done. The standard solution they sell you is an electric dehumidifier. A decent one runs between $250 and $400. The average homeowner replaces it every 4 to 6 years because the compressor fails, the drain clogs, or the humidity sensor stops working correctly. Run the math. Over 20 years, you are spending between $1,000 and $2,000 just on replacement units, before you count electricity. A dehumidifier running continuously draws anywhere from 300 to 700 kilowatt hours per month. At average American electricity rates, that is between $35 and $85 a month added to your bill every single month for as long as you own that home. They made you believe that electricity-powered equipment is the only real solution. They made you believe that anything simpler is not serious enough to work. That belief is worth billions of dollars to the HVAC and appliance industry every single year. And it is completely false. Now let me tell you where this compound actually came from, because this is where the story gets interesting. During World War II, the United States military had a serious problem. Weapons, communications equipment, and mechanical components stored in warehouses in the Pacific Theater and across the humid American South were degrading rapidly. Corrosion, mold, and moisture damage were costing the war effort real money and real operational readiness. Military engineers needed a passive solution, something that required no electricity, no maintenance, and no specialized training to use. The solution they landed on was calcium chloride, a naturally occurring salt compound that had been used industrially in Europe since the late 19th century. It pulls moisture directly out of the air and holds it in solid or liquid form, effectively lowering the relative humidity of any enclosed space. It worked so well that by the late 1940s it was standard issue in military storage facilities, industrial warehouses, and manufacturing plants across the entire country. When Frank was running the floor at a metal component plant in 1987, calcium chloride desiccant bags were stacked in every supply closet. We dropped them in equipment crates, placed them along the walls of high humidity rooms, and recharged them in the oven when they were spent. Nobody sold you a new unit. Nobody charged you a service fee. You just recharged the material and put it back. A single pound of material, if managed correctly, could last you years. Then something changed. By the mid-1990s, you could no longer find bulk calcium chloride marketed for household moisture control at most major retailers. The product category essentially disappeared from home improvement stores. What replaced it was a generation of electric dehumidifiers with planned obsolescence built into every component. It was not an accident. The HVAC industry in America, which includes manufacturers of dehumidifiers, whole home moisture control systems, and related appliances, spent decades funding lobbying efforts and regulatory campaigns that successfully reclassified certain desiccant applications as industrial use only in many jurisdictions. 12 states currently have specific regulations limiting the consumer sale of bulk calcium chloride in quantities and formulations effective for home humidity control, based almost entirely on industry-backed safety claims that independent researchers have repeatedly called into question. The product is not dangerous when used correctly. It has been used in food processing, road maintenance, and industrial applications safely for over a century. The regulations exist because a $3 solution is an existential threat to a multi-billion-dollar appliance market. But here is the thing. In most of the country, including the states where bulk calcium chloride is technically restricted for certain commercial uses, the compound is still legally available for purchase at farm supply stores and certain specialty retailers. Because farmers have been using it for decades, and farmers have enough lobbying power of their own that nobody was going to take it away from them. Wait, because the most important part of this is still coming. Specifically the mistake that almost everyone makes when they try this, the one that turns a simple solution into a soggy mess. The compound is called calcium chloride, not silica gel, not the little packets that come in a shoebox. Those work fine for a small drawer. They cannot handle the humidity load of a basement, a crawl space, a bathroom wall, or a garage. You need calcium chloride in bulk desiccant form. Here is exactly what you need and exactly what to do. You need calcium chloride desiccant granules, the anhydrous or dihydrate form, available at any farm supply chain like Tractor Supply Company or Rural King, and at certain Ace Hardware locations that carry agricultural products. The price runs between $2.50 and $3.20 per pound. You need a drill and a half-inch bit. You need a 5-gallon bucket with a lid. You need a smaller bucket or a plastic container that fits inside the larger one, something like a 2-quart plastic tub. You need a window screen or a piece of fine mesh hardware cloth. And you need a hygrometer, which is a humidity meter, available online for about $8 so you can actually measure whether this is working. Here is the setup. Take your inner container, the 2-quart tub, and drill rows of half-inch holes across the bottom and up the lower sides. This is where the moisture the calcium chloride absorbs will drain. Place that inner container inside your 5-gallon bucket. Fill the inner container with 2 to 3 pounds of calcium chloride granules. Cut your mesh to fit across the top of the inner container and secure it or weigh it down. This keeps the granules contained while allowing full airflow. Put the lid loosely on the outer bucket with a small gap for air circulation, about 1/4 inch. Do not seal it. Place this unit in the problem area. For a basement, place 1 unit per 300 to 400 square feet, positioned away from walls, roughly in the center of the space or near the moisture source. For a crawl space, place units every 12 to 15 feet along the length of the space. For a bathroom, 1 smaller unit, about 1/2 pound of material, is sufficient. Within 48 to 72 hours, you will see liquid beginning to accumulate in the bottom of the outer bucket. That is the moisture that was in your air. That is what was going into your walls, your floor joists, and your lungs. Check your hygrometer readings. A healthy indoor relative humidity sits between 30 and 50%. Most problem basements run between 65 and 85%. Within 1 week, in a space of average humidity load, you will typically see a drop of 15 to 25 percentage points. Before we continue, there is a mistake almost everyone makes right at this stage, and it ruins the entire process. Do not wait for the material to fully liquefy before taking action. Calcium chloride in a high humidity environment will eventually pull so much moisture that it becomes a concentrated brine solution sitting in the bottom of your outer bucket. That is normal, and it means the system is working. But if you let that inner container sit for too long without checking, the liquid can overflow and you have an entirely different problem on your hands. Check the system every 2 weeks. Empty the liquid from the outer bucket when it reaches halfway. When the granules in the inner container have shrunk noticeably and feel significantly lighter, it is time to recharge. Recharging is exactly what it sounds like. Spread the spent granules on a metal baking sheet in a single layer, about 1/4 inch deep. Put them in your oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit for 2 hours. The moisture will evaporate off. The granules will return to near their original weight and appearance. Let them cool completely before returning them to the container. A single pound of calcium chloride, properly maintained and recharged, can last 3 to 5 years before the material degrades to the point of needing replacement. What I am about to show you next will change the way you see this forever, because I ran a direct side-by-side test. In the spring of last year, I set up a 900 square foot basement with 2 conditions. The north half ran a mid-range electric dehumidifier, a unit that retailed for $320. The south half ran a calcium chloride system built for a material cost of exactly $6.40. I placed identical hygrometers in each half and recorded readings every morning for 30 days. The electric unit held the north half at an average of 48% relative humidity. It ran for an average of 9 hours per day, consuming roughly 14 kilowatt hours daily. At my local electricity rate of 14 cents per kilowatt hour, that came to approximately $59 over the 30-day period, on top of the $320 I spent to buy the machine. The calcium chloride system held the south half at an average of 51% relative humidity. The material cost was $6.40. The electricity cost was $0. A 3 percentage point difference in humidity performance. A $370 difference in cost for the first month alone. An industrial hygrometer engineer who spent 3 decades working with precision moisture control equipment in manufacturing environments told me the same thing he told me 30 years ago on a factory floor in central Ohio. For passive residential humidity control, calcium chloride is the most cost-effective solution that exists. Full stop. Now let me walk you through the 5 mistakes that will cause this to fail, because if you skip this section, you may end up thinking the method does not work when the truth is, you just made one of these errors. Mistake number 1, using the wrong grade of calcium chloride. Road-grade calcium chloride, the kind sold in large pellets for ice-melting driveways, has a different particle size and purity level than desiccant-grade material. It will work, but far less efficiently, and it may contain additives that accelerate container degradation. Ask specifically for agricultural or desiccant grade when you are purchasing. Mistake number 2, placing the unit against a wall. You need airflow around all sides of the container for the system to draw moisture from the full volume of the room. Against a wall, you are only treating a portion of the air mass. Keep at least 12 inches of clearance on all sides. Mistake number 3, using too small a quantity for the space. The most common reason people try this and give up after a week is that they used half a pound in an 800 square foot basement and expected miracles. Match the quantity to the space. 2 to 3 pounds per 300 to 400 square feet is the minimum. In a severely humid space, start with the higher end and scale back after you see your hygrometer readings normalize. Mistake number 4, not sealing the entry points first. Calcium chloride will absorb moisture, but if your basement has open foundation cracks, an unsealed crawlspace access, or a sump pit without a cover, you are fighting an infinite supply of incoming moisture with a finite amount of desiccant. Seal your penetrations first, then deploy the system. Mistake number 5. Expecting overnight results. In a high humidity space, especially one that has been wet for years, the materials in the walls and floor have absorbed moisture over a long period of time. As the air humidity drops, those materials will slowly release that stored moisture back into the air. The process of equilibrating the whole space, including the structure itself, can take 2 to 4 weeks. Do not pull the system after 3 days and conclude it failed. Give it a full month before you assess. Let me do the math with you, because this is where it gets real. The average American homeowner who deals with serious basement or crawl space humidity currently spends over a 10-year period approximately $320 on an initial dehumidifier purchase, then another $320 on a replacement unit around year 5, plus an average of $55 per month in operating electricity, which totals $6,600 over the decade. Add one mold remediation event, which 62% of homeowners in humid climates experience at least once per decade, and you are looking at an average additional expense of $4,200. That is more than $10,000 over 10 years to manage humidity in a single space of your home. The calcium chloride system, properly maintained and recharged using your oven, costs approximately $25 per year in material replenishment and $0 in electricity. Over 10 years, that is $250. That is more than $9,750 staying in your pocket, not theirs. Here is a quick recap of what you learned today. There is a compound called calcium chloride desiccant that has been used in industrial and military facilities for over 80 years to control humidity passively, without electricity, without filters, and without service contracts. The HVAC and appliance industry has spent decades funding regulatory efforts to keep this solution off consumer shelves in 12 states, because a $3 permanent solution is a direct threat to a multi-billion-dollar appliance replacement market. You can still purchase this material legally at farm supply stores across most of the country for under $3 per pound. The setup takes under an hour. The results are measurable within a week. And with proper recharging, the same material will serve you for years. If you are going to try this, type "done" in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I want to know how it goes for you. Next week, I am releasing something I have been sitting on for 2 months. It involves a treatment that electric utility companies have reportedly tried to get removed from YouTube 3 separate times. I am not going to tell you more than that right now. But if you are not subscribed, you are going to miss it. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you then.